I really don't, because of how the letters, fire letters, radio waves, the radius, the radio body, the circumference, how big the sphere is, the bands, the radio bands keep expanding. Wow. The circles of fire, the colors, the color codes, the frequency of the sequence, the radio wave, the power of that radio signal. But because so much, just a mountain of information has been shared, it's astronomical, isn't it? And I think about the different presenters or speaker contracts on behalf of the Guardian materials that came out. I don't keep track of time. I just remember experiencing what I was experiencing when they were communicating in the language that we load into memory, and thus we can translate what they're trying to say and provide some context as to what do they really mean. Am I really truly getting the essence of their spirit, what the message is of what they're trying to inform me through the experience through which I'm recording what I'm learning through them. Right? And so when I was 4 years of age, there was only one pathway and there's only one standard. And so I am that standard. And the reason that I know that I am that standard, because I know I am. I know what I am. I am what love is. And I call that the gold standard, the golden rule. Remember the golden rule? Do unto others, you want them to do unto you. What I do to you, I do to me. Protecting me is protecting you. Loving you is loving me. That's basic spiritual science. I call that nursery school, right? Just like when you're born out of a newborn star. I'm experiencing being loved purely. The pure spirit of that star, that starlight being, the pure core of an eternal core loves me forever and always. Will always forgive me. Always. Always. That's what forever and always is. That's what love is. And so I've certainly shared in a lot of videos how that worked for me, particularly when I went into the 12 Spheres program. The Golden Triangle, in the Circle of Fire. The big book of Alcoholics Anonymous talks about the inverse square, the serenity prayer. Grant me the wisdom. Right? Change the things I can. Right? And so when my father, for example, would say to me about what would seem like a basic logical communication as to an interpretation, if you will, in that language, but how it actually plays out, like in play mode, play 2, record 1, I am 1, what it feels like. So when my father would say to me that you don't want to rock somebody else's boat, which means generate any chaos or turbulence in their water world, the organic water code. You don't want to create any turbulence or distorted sound waves in their water, because then they're not going to be feeling totally relaxed and totally loved, because they're experiencing what? Nervous tension. The tension span as it relates to vibration and experiencing the higher ecobecca tones, the higher frequencies, the higher bands, the bandwidth, the width of the radio bands, like a programmable radio, right? Programmable matter, programming the matter, programming the hologram, right? The application of programs, consciousness-driven codes. So when I was a child, it's easy to map read, to know the difference between false light and real light, which is eternal life. So as a matter of fact, the map read is instantaneous. It's instant, because your sensory capacity level is running full capacity. So we know what that is. The primal sound and light field. The eternal core is letting us know that's not what I am. That's what it is. That's false light communicating to you. And that's called a filter. So you're filtering codes. You're filtering the design. You're filtering the map, which is the mapping system of artificial light. That means you just detected something that's artificial and finite. Well, that's not what I am. That's how fast the read is. So that means you already know why you're here. Which is to restore atmospheric balance, the pressure-sensitive codes, the pressure-sensitive waves. So we're experiencing perfect balance, right? Experiencing being totally loved and totally relaxed. So we're not running any anxiety-driven programs. As a result of what? The delay, which causes that decay, which means the circulation speed of the planetary shield is slowing down. Right? So what happens to the electron transport of oxygen? Remember I shared that when I went to school? I think it was, when was that, Mama? 1980, early 1980s. And went into environmental engineering schools. Why? To acquire the data. Even though I already knew that at 4 years of age what was going on, because I'm experiencing, remember, mapping the loss and gain. Right? In electrical power. The ATP life force. The first electron. The eternal core of electrical power. Kick out another spark. Light a fire. Right? So we all know that the center point of fire, right, is a precise center point of balance. Equidistance is equal sharing. So I am everything that you are, that I'm sharing what it is that I am, which is what I am is, which is what love is. I'm sharing that with you. So I never lose my memory of the core. That's why I serve the core. So I'm always on duty. Battery duty. Yeah. So we use our battery as a server. The eternal battery is a server. How can I serve you? Serve you. The real universe. The unicide. The signal. The crystal wave. The form and flow. The natural form and flow of waves. Just like the waves on the beach. What we used to call Hawaiian juice, pineapple juice, pineal juice, the pineal electric, the electric plates. Yeah, the CDT plates, you know, smoothing it out. So we're right. It's just like yesterday I communicated, and that was a bumpy ride. It's like, you know what rough edges are. Ooh, those were some rough edges because we're so electrically sensitive. Sensing is what we feel. So you know how it is when we talk about it doesn't have any feelings left, then it doesn't have any essence left. So I'm very specific about certain words that I use in the English language, how we translate that as spiritual, operating on an AI spiritual battlefield. Particularly as it relates to what I call all the above. Right? Held in permanent records. When the permanent records are open and we have access to those records to know what we're supposed to know at the moment we're supposed to know it for the reasons that we're here, which is protection, which is a shield to increase the strength of the shield. Because it's natural for an eternal being to protect all life, which is what love is. So love is protection. And that is a natural shield. That is not a false light shield. So you immediately know the difference between what's false, a false light echo, and a real eternal life echo, the eternal core. So that's what I share. I simply share what I've experienced by virtue of what I've learned through that experience that I share with others. That's it. And that's called neutral ground, which is safe Bardo. Right? The Aurora platforms. And, or what I keep it simple. The one. The one is protecting me. The one is protecting us all because the one is loving us all, equally sharing. Equidistance. So my heart has never left home. I'm always at home. That's why I remember I've signed all my love letters. I will love you forever and always on. You tell all your girlfriends that? Yes, I do, as a matter of fact. Forever. And how I remember how that operated in all the other stories that I experienced when I grew up as a child in elementary school and middle school and high school about boyfriends and girlfriends, right? And who you're choosing. Right now, I'm back to when I'm a little child. Do not touch me. So that means when I was a little child, I must have known something about the zone I was operating in. Right? So, you know, and because somebody mentioned in one of my videos that I guess I did, whenever it was that I did it, about they want to touch you and hug you and handshake you and all that. And yes, that's absolutely true. And that's how transfer of codes takes place. So that's why I've mentioned in so many of my experiences that I share with all of you, burn it off. And your ability to spin, your spin capacity, your electrical speed to experience zero mass, right? And maintain your speed to burn off those codes. Because they don't apply. They don't apply to us. That's not what I am. So it means if I know what I am, then I know the difference in codes, which is the spin rate, the mathematical spin rate, right? Ersan 333 and 222. So that's why when she mentioned one time about votes that were taken a long time ago, and we're all back together again, why we're